The May 1st, 2023 City of Vandalia Council meeting is now called to order. We'll start with a moment of reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Council, you've had an opportunity to review the study session minutes of April 3rd and the council meeting minutes of April 3rd. Are there any comments or corrections? Being none, they stand approved, and that brings us to communications, petitions, and awards, and we're going to vary slightly from our agenda. April 30th through May 6th is the annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, so we would like to take this time to honor Ms. Angela Swartz as our municipal clerk. We appreciate you very much and all the hard work that you put in for the council, the staff, and our residents.
Thank you so very much.
You're not going to go to the podium and have comments?
All right.
All right. All right, we have several introductions here tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Wendt.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I can't beat the flowers, but we do have several new public servants to introduce today. The first thing that I'll do is swear in Police Officer Matt Nicley, and I just ask him to come up here. I'll tell you a little bit about him. He's got about 20 years of police investigation experience, 8 in police leadership. He's a resident in Miami County and Tip City. He was a sergeant at the University of Dayton, a lieutenant at Premier Health, and a sergeant at Miami Township previously. He prides himself on physical fitness and has a certain level of maturity, and I know that he's going to be a really good police officer for us as he joins our group. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and swear him in.
All right.
This is my wife, Stacy Nicely.
Okay, and you have children as well?
Yes, and my 4 children, Ryan, Emma, Caitlin, Joseph, my father Russ, girlfriend Linda, and my former chief at Miami Township, and former sergeant partner, now lieutenant, to get ready to be deputy chief at Miami Township.
Great. I'm glad that everybody turned out and congratulated you. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. I, Matthew Nicely, solemnly swear
I, Matthew Nicely, solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and will obey the laws of the United States
and will obey the laws of the United States
and the state of Ohio,
and the state of Ohio,
that I will in all respects
and that I will in all respects
observe the provisions of the Charter
observe the provisions of the Charter
and ordinances of the City of Vandalia,
and ordinance of the City of Vandalia,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of police officer
of police officer
within the Division of Police.
within the Division of Police.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It looks like I'm nice.
I do need you to go ahead and sign this oath. Now, how do you pull someone over? You do it nicely. Yeah.
Never heard it before.
Yeah.
Never heard it before.
Oh, I thought that was a Roadhouse joke. This one's yours.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
It's okay, we don't think he's funny either.
Well, that was uncalled for. All right. Up next, we've got Public Works Supervisor Cody Booher. Cody has been with us since, May 15th, 2019. Is that right from memory? We just promoted Cody. We've got two different Public Works supervisors. Mike Bussey and him are helping to run the operations down there. We put Cody through a battery of maybe 38 questions, and of course, his interview's been several years in the making. He's exhibiting great leadership at the Public Works Division, and so we're proud of what he's learning on the job and also what his future goals are. I think this person's going to be a leader for you in the city organization. So thank you for the opportunity to introduce him. You can go ahead and sit down. That wasn't that bad, but congrats on the promotion. All right, next up I've got Public Works Technician Aaron Evans. Mr. Evans is a resident of New Lebanon. He is an equipment operator. He was an equipment operator for several years at Matrix 5 Site Development, also SRI Inc., and so can operate a battery of equipment. He's also a graduate of Miami Valley CTC. So welcome aboard. Thank you. Next up, I've got, okay, and I haven't been keeping track up here. I've got Mr. Paul Pollard. And Paul, where are you? Okay, right here. Paul joined us as the Information Technology Systems Administrator. He's brought tonight his girlfriend, Angie, and also daughter, Carly. And I almost said fiance because that's what Darren Davey told me, and then he said, don't do that. No pressure. Paul lives in Englewood. He's got a bachelor's degree in advanced computer networking. He's got an associate's degree in IT support. There are numerous certifications that he has. We had a very competitive recruitment for his position. You'll remember last year, IT Manager Davey came in and presented, and there were several slides where it was like the red area gaps where we weren't able to fulfill services that we need as technology and the needs of our residents and internal customers evolves. That's Paul's job. And so he's doing very well. He's had progressive experience. Most recently, he was working in town at Forney Industries on Stop 8 Road. He did list Dayton on his resume, but we all know that that's in Vandalia. And he's very proud of the progressive experience that he's had. And so that's Paul Pollard, and welcome aboard, sir. I will ask our new city engineer to come up to the podium. This is Ben Borton. Mr. Borton is a professional engineer. He's a Butler High School graduate. He also has a 6-month-old son named Glenn, and he's an Eagle Scout. Now, I knew that this guy was a contender when I asked him, what is his Eagle Scout project? And he said to me that he did some sort of drainage project that he had drawn up. And so I asked him if he was performing engineering without a license. We agreed not to talk about it anymore. He's working on buying a house. He's in contract for a house here in town in Vandalia, so we're excited for that. He went away for a couple of years. He got his bachelor's in engineering from University of Dayton. He worked in Ohio for a bit, went out to Colorado Springs, has worked in the private sector on many public works, infrastructure, and civil engineering type of projects. And previously, he had done a co-op with Ohio Department of Transportation. And so he really floated to the top in that recruitment. And we're excited to have him on board. He'd like to share a couple of words, I'd say.
I just wanted to thank everyone for the opportunity to help serve in the community I grew up in and help grow my family here. So.
All right, welcome.
Thanks. All right, and as we welcome aboard, Mr. Borton. As we go through this, I'd just like to point out there are a lot of employees that we're introducing. There have been retirements, there have been vacancies that are created or shifts that we've made where we've talked about this. So all of these employees are naturally in the budget and are anticipated hires. I'd ask Garrett Danner to stand up. Mr. Danner is a parks maintenance technician who's assigned to the building division. He's working directly for Superintendent Wells. His position came vacant when James Fry retired. And so one thing to know about him, Northmont City Schools graduate, lives in Dayton, has extensive work in plumbing. But I can tell that Mr. Danner is an active learner in that he's purchased a home and he's doing extensive renovations and certainly learning as he goes. God bless you, because we've all done it once. So thank you very much and welcome. Finally, we have Harry Reed. Mr. Reed is not only a Butler High School graduate, he's also a veteran of the U.S. Army. He most recently was an excavation laborer at Hemmelgarn Services and a landscape technician, and so this is helping him. That experience is very relevant for his work as a parks maintenance technician, and so he'll be one of the folks that are out there making our parks beautiful and improving livability. Also a graduate of Miami Valley CTC, and so that's all of the employees that I'm going to introduce tonight, and so welcome, Mr. Reed.
All right, welcome. Thank you. All right, next we have a presentation from Montgomery County Auditor, Mr. Carl Keith.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, members of council. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight. Now, those of you who are purchasing new homes or doing remodeling your new homes, most of the time they try to keep those things secret from the county auditor. But I appreciate that. I'm making notes of that. I'll need your address before we leave tonight. I appreciate the opportunity just to say do a brief presentation. I've got a PowerPoint presentation here about this year's property value update, and just to give you an idea of what we anticipate and where we are with the project. As you well know, counties in Ohio are required to conduct a comprehensive revaluation once every 6 years. And then midway through that cycle, we're required to do a market update. So we're basically adjusting values once every 3 years. I hear from people a lot, so, well, didn't we just do this? Well, yes, we did about 3 years ago. Next slide. So the last revaluation was done in 2020. And you recall, at that time, we increased property values throughout the county by about $3.5 billion. We recovered most of what we had lost from the recession. We had lost about $3.5 billion during the recession in value. And so in the last revaluation, we were able to recover that what we had lost. Next slide. So in Vandalia, in 2020, just as a reminder, in Vandalia, we increased values then by 13%. Vandalia, the city, gained more than $113 million in value. It was 3% of the county-wide gain that year. So, we were on the road to recovery back in 2020, and those appreciating values have continued since then. Next slide. So this year is what we call a triennial update. So we will not be sending appraisers in the field to do visual inspections of properties, and we will do it unless there's been new construction, unless someone's been doing some plumbing work in their home. So unless there's been some new construction or something like that, we won't be sending appraisers in the field. What we will be doing is looking at valid real estate sales that have occurred in the last year, closest to the lien date, and we will make determination of sales ratios based upon how those sales relate to the current values we have on the market. So what determines the property's market value, the characteristics of the property, and of course the old maximum real estate, location, and then a recent sale or comparable recent sales. So we are expecting, based on that, record-setting increases in values this year throughout the county. We're basing, our values are going to be based on sales that occurred in 2022, and those have been record-breaking activity in the market. And so we are expecting to see sales soar. In the newspaper article, it said we're expecting to see sales soar or values soar. Okay, next slide. This is an indication of what we've seen and how healthy the market has been. So in 2011 was the low point. We only had 2,900 valid sales that year. That was the height of the recession. Then we've been growing significantly since then. 2021 was the highest we've ever had, was record sales in the county, almost 13,000. So in 2022, it did slow down a bit. We only had 10,500, but if it wasn't for 2021, that would be the record we've ever had. So, I mean, the market has been healthy, it has been strong, even during the pandemic. The headline there talks about when the governor's issued the stay-at-home order, the real estate industry was considered an essential service, and we were all required to continue to sell property and transfer deeds. And I know my office, we were transferring 80, 90, 100 properties a day, every day, and had to struggle to keep up with it and have to work overtime and on weekends. So it's been a very active, very robust market now for a couple of years. So, and in those 10,000 sales, what we like to do is look to see, did they sell for more than we have them valued or less? And so of those 10,000 sales, 83% of them sold over for more than what the county has them valued. So that's what's driving the reason why we have to increase values. I think we go to the next slide, and this is just in Vandalia, sales just in the city of Vandalia. You see 227 and 20, 308 and 21, 257 and 22. Those are strong numbers just in the city of Vandalia. 91% of those sales have sold for more than the county currently has them valued. Again, what's going to drive us to raise values? The other thing that's driving us to raise value is the recommendation from the tax commissioner. We just received this a week ago. The tax commissioner will send out recommendations based upon their review of the market to every county that's scheduled to do an update. We received ours a couple of weeks ago. The tax commissioner is recommending a 37% increase in the aggregate amount of values for residential property in Montgomery County and a 13% increase for commercial property. Those are aggregate numbers, and so you can say that's a countywide average, but those are the tax commissioner's recommendation at this point. Next slide. There are 21 counties that are doing updates this year. 13 counties that are doing updates this year. So we are one of the 13. An average, the tax commissioners requested a 34% increase on average. And you see a couple of those. Claremont's up in the 40s, Knox 40%. So we're right up there with the other counties. The counties around us that did updates last year, Clark County ended up at 27.5%. Miami County ended up at 25%. So, and the markets continue to improve. So we are projecting results this year, depending on the community, depending on the different neighborhoods, of somewhere between 25 and 40%. And that we think will average up above 30%, again, based upon what we've seen from the tax commissioner and our own review of the market. We are continuing to do that review, but that's kind of what we are anticipating for the rest when we're all said and done. So just to give you an idea of what that means in terms of our schedule, so you can prepare yourself when the phone starts to ring. We are trying to finalize our numbers now. We hope to submit those to the tax commissioner by Memorial Day, by the end of May. Once the tax commissioner reviews our work and gives us tentative approval, we will be mailing notices to every property owner in the county, informing them of their new tentative value and offering them opportunity to if they have questions or want to meet with us. We'll do it by Zoom. We've been doing our informal meetings virtually, and that's worked out really well for people. So we'll be doing that during the summer and fall with anticipation of finalizing values by the end of the summer. And so that's kind of the schedule that we're on, and we're staying on schedule, I think, at this point. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
How often does a tax commissioner go with your recommendation?
So the tax commissioner will only give their recommendation during the years you're doing a triennial. So if we were doing, like in 2020, we were doing a full reappraisal, they won't even give you a recommendation. They wait till you submit something, and then they will come back and say, no, we think it should be this, or we think it should be that. So, if you recall, in 2020, we went back and forth with the tax commissioner quite a bit, and ended up settling about 15%. They wanted it higher, we wanted it lower, and so we went back and forth quite a bit. So it depends.
But the overall theme I heard is that we have real estate agents to blame for this, right?
Real estate agents get the call when they say, hey, I want to contest my real estate taxes. Can you do me a market analysis?
And one of the things we try to point out to people is when we're doing this work, we're really not focused on taxes, we're focused on value. And the taxes end up falling where they will. There are protections for property owners in Ohio, and so when you see a 37% potential increase, that doesn't equate to a 37% increase in taxes. And I think that's the most important thing to realize, is that the tax bill will not come near to that type of increase. Will people see an increase in their taxes? Most will, certainly. But nothing like that, nothing like double digits, I don't believe.
All right. Any other questions?
Overall, I think this is good news. Again, I've been auditor a long time, and I've seen the market go up, and I've seen the market go down, and seen it come back. And in 08 and 11, when we were seeing the market collapse and hearing people lose equity in their home and losing their investments in their home, that was a very heartbreaking experience to have to go through. When we were at the height of the foreclosure crisis here in this community, those were heartbreaking times. For most people, their home is their largest investment. And so while there are tax consequences to this, it does mean that the community is growing, the economy is strong, the real estate market is a huge economic engine, and so in any community, and so it's really good news in the overall scheme of things, the big picture. Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Thanks.
All right, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right, if anyone was here for the introductions and you wanted to leave and not stay for the whole meeting, this is kind of our intermission. Again, thanks for coming.
Why are the lieutenants leaving? I don't get it. We were just getting started.
Bye. Goodbye. Excuse me.
All right, we have no public hearing tonight, and that brings us to comments from interested citizens. So if anyone would like to make a comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and your comments.
Donald Hutchison, 1058 Bristol. Good evening, Mayor, Council. First of all, Mr. Follick, I'd like to congratulate you on your recognition at Inglewood.
Thank you.
So that. I want to bring a few items to light tonight. There'll be a connection here in a minute. On 4/24/23, we had a shooting at Smashburger on Miller Lane. I'm sure you're all aware. Wasn't that long ago also, on Miller Lane, we have a shooting by O'Charlie's on Miller Lane. And then one down at the north end by Little York by a motel. We have, if you watch the items in the past in the drummer, the amount of emergency calls and police calls that are required to go down there in that area, mainly Miller Lane. We have in Vandalia, all my life I remember only one thing, and it was a credible thing when we lost Mr. Bohannon down in that area. And we have a very good police force here in Vandalia, one to be very proud of, that we can always take comfort in, that our wives and children can go about in town and feel comfortable and safe. Down in that area there, there's just about on every corner panhandlers no matter what the weather is down there. We had an incident down there where all of you most likely noticed on the news that a lady over a slice of cheese was being beaten by an officer down in that area. Not from Vandalia. Our officers don't do that. And I always want to feel that wherever in town my family goes, my loved ones, that they are protected. Now, we have a Vandalia book that come out, and it says that in town, for quite some time, Mr. City Manager has excited to bring Audis to Vandalia. That area down there, where those issues that are going on are getting more frequent, is not where we want our loved ones going. There was talk about getting a grocery, not a store where you buy clothes and lumber and other things, in a walkable area that we recently also have a comment that our northern neighbors don't want to be like Vandalia, where it's not a walkable city, and I was disheartened to hear about that. Now, our city manager, if you want to be the voice of the people, I think you need to realize what it is the people want. They want their loved ones to be safe. Now, these items, they are very recent and getting more numerous. I'm sure you don't want your family to be in such an area. We have a young child whose leg got broke by their father trying to protect and run away from that shooting in that restaurant. You want to be the voice of Vandalia, the voice of the people. I've noticed that you are from Fairfield, Norwalk, Huron County. When you make these decisions, there are people that have lived here all their life. And when you make that decision, we have to live with it. When a stepping stone to another place is pursued, we will still be here. And in regards to that being something that we can comfortably feel that we can go and shop at, I don't think is what we had intended in regards to an issue that's been ongoing for some time, sir. Now, I would welcome any comment if you would wish to discuss, if you feel that these items are in error. Please.
I'll be happy to respond if that's the complete set of comments that the gentleman would like to make. I'll respond to them all at once, but I'm also not interested in a back and forth. I would just start by saying I feel very fortunate to live here in town. I like it here. I've got kids in the school district that I wasn't fortunate enough to be born here. I would choose that if I could. And rather than winning the birth lottery, I've actually chosen to come here, which is a different type of investment to make. You, sir, worked in the Montgomery County Community and Economic Development Office, is that correct?
That's correct.
In the rest of that article that you cited, you'll note that there's a portion in it where over the course of 2 years, we attempted to develop relationships with corporations, but Aldi in particular, to bring a grocery store in. Of course, the Crossroads Motel area is the place where we had a very professional presentation made on our behalf. It says that right in the article. From your time in economic development and building building inspection, I'm sure that you realize that while you might try to guide people to do private business, ultimately, it's not the role of the government to be able to say that in consideration of two permitted uses, that they can't pick one or the other, and so that's absent. What I can look at is from a total perspective of, here's the entire city. The city has craved and has wanted another grocery store option, and one is coming in. Regardless of where that is, that's good. I personally would prefer that it be in the location next to Bunkers, next to Store and Lock. It's not, but just as you did throughout your career, we too will work with them in a way to expeditiously process their permits and their construction. At any time, if you'd like to sit down and have a face-to-face, I'd be glad to do that. I certainly have been out at the homes of some of your neighbors, where I visited them in their houses to listen and to speak with them. And so that's really the best that I can do, but I can promise you that I work really hard to listen in an evidence-based way to make solid decisions that are based on the policy goals that we've outlined and the feedback that we've gotten from the community. And so I'm happy to sit down with you anytime you'd like.
I appreciate your words, sir, and I understand that I hope that maybe Aldi's, who at one time when I spoke before, will do well, prosper. But anyone who knows that watches the police reports will see that there is a big grocer down there that is always being visited by the local first responders. And I hope that they don't end up with that being their issue. And maybe if they knew how much of an issue it was by doing research, they might find something before they even put shovel to ground to maybe go somewhere else. Now, I have been talking lately with Mr. Nick Kavalauskas with the Chamber of Commerce, who is the person that was recommended that I contact in the past when I brought this up. As an administrator, you administrate the city, but are you the voice of the people when it goes to trying to get prospective clients to come to this area? I think these ladies and gentlemen up here that were elected are the voice of the people. And I feel that they are the ones who speak for us.
I'll go ahead and I'll respond to that if that's okay.
Well, I got no problem with that.
I'd love to explain to you the charter, which
I'm
was
very aware of the charter. I have a copy of it.
which was adopted sometime back, 1959. Naturally, the legitimate authority for anything that a staff member does, a public servant, a member of the bureaucracy that's appointed, whether it's by the elected officials or it's by me, to carry out the laws, the ordinances of the city, there is a solid portion of policy where everything that we do is because we're accountable to the voters through the legitimacy that council provides as the elected body. And so I go to my 7 elected bosses and administer policy in a way that's consistent with the laws and consistent with the development. And it's necessary to consider always that there are multiple truths on many sides of the issue. And so I will say, and I feel comfortable saying that if you're upset about the Northwoods development and you think that I feel like I speak for the people, I do not. There are many things, hurtful things, I think per se defamation, that I've seen online that I just look at and I go, it's not true. When somebody brings a proposal to Vandalia, it's our job to administer it in accordance with the law, to not get the city sued by mishandling its business, and to advise in terms of, whatever lens you want to look at, whether it's efficiency, whether it's long-term planning, looking at and understanding the concerns of the neighbors. And I feel very comfortable about that, knowing where that project stands, or at least having an idea, that thinking that that will be released. I feel very comfortable saying that right off the bat. Not only did I, but did staff go into meetings where we weren't invited and state that we didn't think that it was a good idea, that it wouldn't be able to get through, and that the public would take care of it. And so I feel very comfortable knowing that I did those things, and that was in the best interest of the residents of Vandalia, especially being one myself. And so if you think that I claim to be the voice of Vandalia, I absolutely do not. But I will tell you that I work hard and I obsess over trying to make the right decision for our elected officials, for our 15,000 residents, for the additional 5,000 people that we pick up every day, and every child that's never thought about their water being safe or not contaminating the environment when they flush the toilet.
Well, I wasn't here to talk about Northwoods tonight. I just wanted to make sure it was understood that the people of Vandalia, when they talk about being in town, that area down there, if you had a history here, you might know that that's just kind of like a tax generator being connected to the PUD, where everybody got hold of certain parcels of Miller Lane's economic development, sharing the wealth, as it were. Everybody needs to think about what's going to happen when their loved ones go down there to shop, when they're within the town of Vandalia. Our police force, which we're very proud of, from way back, keeps things where we like them. And if the part where Crossroads was is not available, a nice grocery was here for the longest time, where Burger King is, that doesn't want to seem to do business here now. When I come here, the only grocers was next to where Jim's Donut and the barber shop were in the north end of Airline Shopping Center. The people here would like just to have something where they could walk to a grocery. So I just wanted to bring that to attention tonight, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchins, for your comments and concerns. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to make a comment?
Mayor, I just want to respond real quick in general, because I think, you know, you can read everything on social media and there's all kinds of opinions out there, but I think what everyone needs to keep in mind is, and Mr. Wendt kind of alluded to it, when it comes to permitted uses, the city can only do so much when an applicant comes to the city with a project that falls within the city's zoning code and permitted use. And, you know, and I know that staff worked diligently to try to locate Aldi's in a different location, but ultimately, you know, they made a corporate decision based on probably market studies and things that we're not privy to, that they're gonna see a lot more traffic at Miller Lane and 75 than they would on US 40 in Vandalia, east of 75. And again, I'm not a marketing person, but I just think that's where their decision was geared towards, is, you know, they have to make a decision based on a millions and millions of dollar investment that they're making into our community. And even though it may not be in the preferred location that most residents want it, I still think, and I think everyone on council is welcoming the fact that we will have another option for our residents to shop. As far as the comments that have been made both tonight and previously about former grocery stores in Vandalia, you know, having lived here all my life, yes, we had a Fulmer, we had an IGA, and I would probably say that those two businesses aren't in business anymore because they were not supported to the level that they could maintain a business here. You know, residents decided to start shopping at Kroger. They started shopping at Meijer when Meijer opened in Inglewood. They started shopping at Walmart. And so those independent grocery stores dried up and went away. I mean, and it's just economics and business. And I I know that people are frustrated, and, you know, you can read it online, you can talk to people and hear it, you know, they don't like certain things about our Kroger store, or where the Aldi is going, or the Walmart on Miller Lane. And there's only so much the city can do when it comes to getting businesses to come here where they are permitted to operate. And to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, I mean, Aldi's outright was a permitted use, is that correct? Like, we didn't pass any zoning variances to get them there. So just like another business, if another grocery store came to Vandalia and said, I want to locate someplace in Vandalia where it's permitted outright, the city in no way can say, no, you can't go there. Our residents want you to go somewhere else. That's just not legal. And if we did it, we would probably be sued and we would lose. And I don't think that's a good use of our taxpayer dollars and protecting our taxpayer dollars to make decisions that would cost us millions of dollars in taxpayer money in legal fees or awards. So, I mean, I understand your frustration with where Aldi's may be locating, but I think, you know, city staff in this situation did everything they could to try to get them into a different location, and Aldi's just ultimately made a business decision that's in the best interest of their company, even though it may not be where the majority of residents want that grocery store to locate.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Well, then maybe Aldi's isn't the one we're looking for.
But we can't.
Maybe
We
Dot.
can't say no to somebody else.
Oh, I'm not saying say no to somebody else. Like I said, you guys told me that if I, and other people who don't feel the ability to come up and talk, they'd like to have somebody be their voice. You have DOTS, you have IGA, there's other people out there, and I've been speaking with Nick at the Chamber of Commerce. And possibly, if there is somebody of that nature that would like to come here, hopefully the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board could help them get to where the people would like to go and be walkable, like some people say that we're not.
And I would say that if one of those other grocers showed interest and approached city staff, city staff would do everything in their power to get them to be here. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
Well, just watch who comes and sees you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to the city manager's report, where we have some information items. Mr. Wendt?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Just a couple of items for you. First, National Day of Prayer, Thursday, May 4th, 2023. There will be a breakfast held at the First Light Church from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Breakfast will begin at 8:30 a.m. in the Fellowship Hall, and prayer service will begin at 9:15 a.m. in the sanctuary. They do ask that you RSVP. If any of you would like to RSVP, please do contact Mrs. Swartz so that she can get you registered. Also, we'll hold our council spring retreat on Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. That'll be from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the Justice Center Community Room. That is open to the public, and I'm assembling information for us to go over. One thing that I'd just like to bring up, I also would like to congratulate Councilmember Follick on becoming the second chief in his family, the director of police and police chief over in Englewood. And so that's a great accomplishment, and we're all really proud of you. That concludes my report, sir.
All right, thank you. We have no old business, and that brings us to our first resolution of the night, that being Resolution 23-R-31. Mr. McDonald?
A resolution authorizing cooperation and contracts with Ohio Department of Transportation regarding ODOT project MOT Webster Street resurfacing, PID number 116880 ODOT.
Thank you. Mr. Wendt?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. The city and ODOT have previously agreed to partner in the resurfacing of Webster Street from Stop 8 to Little York Road. Final plans have been submitted to ODOT and are awaiting final approvals. The total estimated cost of the project, including engineering, is $979,414. Director Cron went ahead and won us a $717,131 grant for this project. Those are STP funds through MVRPC. To keep the project moving forward, we need to approve legislation authorizing us to enter into a formal agreement with ODOT to oversee and to manage the bidding and construction of the project. Currently, the project is scheduled to bid in March of 2024, with construction taking place in the summer of 2024 as well.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
Your Honor, I'll move to approve Resolution 23R-31 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Follick and a second by Councilman Blakesley to approve Resolution 23-R-31. Are there any comments? Call the roll.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Councilmember Follak?
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers?
Yes.
Councilmember Woods?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Herbst?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Next, we have Resolution 23-R-32.
A resolution authorizing cooperation and contracts with Ohio Department of Transportation regarding ODOT project MOT Vandalia Bikeway Connector, PID number 111388.
Thank you. Mr. Wendt.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. The city and ODOT have previously agreed to partner in the construction of the Vandalia Bikeway Connector. This is going to be great for active transportation and walkability in town. Engineering and design is near its final stages. We're currently waiting on final approval of the right-of-way documents, and we'll begin the right-of-way acquisition for the project. To keep the project moving forward, we need to approve legislation authorizing us to enter into a formal agreement with ODOT to oversee and to manage the bidding and construction of the project. As we've discussed before, while we are the local sponsor of the project, we are sharing the local cost with Five River Metro Parks. Currently, the project is scheduled to be bid in May of 2024, with construction starting in the summer of 2024 and scheduled to be completed by May 2025.
All right. Thank you. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve Resolution 23R-32.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Blakesley and a second by Councilwoman Fairst to approve Resolution 23-R-32 as presented. Are there any comments? Call the roll.
Councilmember Follak?
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers?
Yes.
Councilmember Woods?
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Herbst?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0. Next, we have Resolution 23-R-33.
A resolution awarding the bid for a one-ton dump truck with specialty package requested by the Department of Parks and Recreation to Bo Townsend Ford and declaring the existing 1998 Chevrolet one-ton dump truck as surplus property for the purpose of trade-in.
Thank you. Mr. Wendt.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Parks and Rec Department solicited bids for the purchase of a 2023 one-ton dump truck with specialty package. The 2023 Capital Improvement Plan has $85,000 allotted for this specific purchase. Bid packets were sent directly to Smedley's and also Bo Townsend and advertised in the Daily Court Reporter. Bo Townsend Ford submitted the loan bid of $72,600, which includes the base model with the white exterior and specialty package to include an airflow 9-foot aluminum dump body with fold-down sides, steel equipment box with shelving, and LED strobe lights in the grill and dump body. The 2023 pickup truck will replace a 1998 Chevy model dump truck, which will be traded as part of the purchase for a reduction of $3,500, bringing the final cost of the purchase to $69,100. Further, I recommend that City Council declare the 1998 Chevy dump truck as surplus for the purpose of disposing via trade-in as provided by law. Thank you.
Can I have a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 23-R-33 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Farce and a second by Councilman Ayers to approve Resolution 23-R-33 as presented. Are there any comments from council?
Just a quick, I mean, we're replacing a vehicle that's 25 years old and, a frontline vehicle, and that staff, kudos to the mechanics out the Parks and Rec Department and staff for, taking care of a piece of equipment that's lasted that long is great.
All right, thank you. Call the roll.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers,
Yes.
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Follak,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, and the motion passes 7-0. Next, we have Resolution 23-R-34.
A resolution authorizing the purchase of water meters and appurtenances from Buckeye State Pipe and Supply Company, Inc. at a cost not to exceed $440,000.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. We had a presentation on this during the study session. Of course, we've been talking about our water meter replacement project for several years. Public Works Division researched several options for replacing water meters and briefed council recently. The adopted capital improvement plan in 2023 budget includes replacing current meters with the Badger E-Series ultrasonic meters. These meters read remotely through a cellular network. Last year, we ordered 790 or so of various sizes. Installations have begun, replacing the quote-unquote dead meters that require a manual reading inside of the homes first, and then we're working on the pit meters also as we go. There's about 5,700 meters of various sizes throughout the city, and so it'll span multiple projects. In the blue letter, I included a link. It's also available from the city website menus detailing information about the water replacement program. One of the benefits is that our residents and customers will have real-time leak detection several times an hour. That'll ping usage, and it'll notify our customers on the phone using the Eye on Water app. And so we're excited about that. I included a door hanger that'll be left as well. The budget and the capital improvement plan include an appropriation authorized by council for $440,000. This is divided between water and sewer funds. That's being presented for your consideration. We'll mostly purchase residential meters with this, and then we'll leave some in reserve to order the larger, more expensive meters as they're needed. We don't tend to keep many of those in stock.
All right, thank you. Can I have a motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 23-R-34.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Ayers and a second by Councilman Follak to approve Resolution 23-R-34 as presented. Are there any comments? Call the roll.
Councilmember Ayers,
Yes.
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Follak,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, the motion carries 7-0. We have no ordinances in their first reading. However, we do have one in the second reading, that being ordinance 23-08.
An ordinance amending the text of the Vandalia zoning code relating to solar energy systems.
Thank you. Mr. Wendt?
Thank you, Your Honor. City staff, at the direction of City Council, has proposed amendments to the city's planning and zoning code to refine current regulations on solar energy systems. If approved, the proposed changes would amend Chapter 1224 on accessory uses and Chapter 1244 on definitions. The proposed amendments address regulations dealing with both roof-mounted and ground-mounted solar panels, as well as clarifications regarding current prohibitions against standalone solar farms. At its meeting on March 28, 2023, the Planning Commission voted 4-1 to recommend approval of this text amendment.
All right, thank you. Since this is an ordinance in a second reading, I will open up a public hearing, so if anyone would like to comment on this ordinance, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and your comment. Being none, I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Your Honor, I'll move that we approve ordinance 23-08 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Lewis and a second by Councilwoman Farce to approve ordinance 23-08 in its second reading. Are there any comments? Call the roll.
Councilmember Woods,
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley,
Yes.
Councilmember Follak,
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis,
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, and the motion passes 7-0. We have no emergency ordinances. That brings us to reports from boards and commissions. We have the Vandalia Arts Council meeting minutes of March 21st, along with the Planning Commission meeting minutes of March 28th. Are there any comments? All right, and that brings us to council comments, and we'll begin this evening with Mr. McDonald.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Wendt.
I'd just like to wish Mr. McDonald safe travels across the Atlantic Ocean.
To where?
Where are you going, Jerry? Where are you going?
Going to Paris tomorrow.
Super.
Great.
Now, we have a meeting on the 15th, so we'll see you then. Okay, Councilman Ayers.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilwoman Forrest.
I have nothing this evening, but thank you.
Councilman Follett.
Just to welcome the recruitment class of April 2023 that was here tonight,
Go that way.
all the new staff. And then also,
Go
just
away.
real quick, a thank you to our Public Works crews that have been diligently working on getting all of the brackets on the city light posts along Dixie Drive and the new Veteran Parkway street signs that are also up. So the banners went to the printers today, and hopefully in a week, we will have them back, and we will start to see them going up. So thank you to Public Works staff for that.
All right, Councilman Blakesley.
Nothing additional, thank you.
Councilwoman Woods.
Just to say again, thank you to Angela Schwartz for all of her hard work and help to council, and congratulations to Councilman Follick on his appointment to Chief of Police in Inglewood. It's such an honor, and he's the best person for that possible job. That's it.
Vice Mayor Lewis.
I have none, Your Honor.
All right. The only thing I was going to say is, just to address some of Mr. Hutchinson's concerns, I think us as a council are obviously very aware of what's going on to us to the south, and it's very disheartening to us and Vandalia. We want nothing more than to see Vandalia prosper and our businesses prosper. I think we would all like to have a grocery store in Vandalia that is walkable. We've had several locations that have been for sale for a number of years, and I had hopes that some of the grocery stores that you even mentioned would consider relocating there, and I believe staff had reached out to some of those grocery chains, but nothing was ever put together. But we do hear the concern, and it's a concern of all of ours, too. With that said, I have nothing more. It is recommended that council enter into executive session to consider the sale or purchase of property along with certain personnel decisions and collective bargaining strategy.
Yes, sir. If I may phrase it in what I believe to be, let me phrase this
Starting to act
for
like
you.
Jerry.
I'd request an executive session to discuss the sale of real property, the purchase of real property, to consider certain personnel matters, including the dismissal of public employees, and to review the city's collective bargaining strategy.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Blixley?
Yes.
Councilmember Follick?
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers? Councilmember Woods?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Herbst?
Yes, and the motion passes 7-0. Need a motion to end the executive session and reconvene our regular council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Lewis and a second by Councilman Blakesley to end the executive session and reconvene our normal council meeting. Call the roll?
Councilmember Follick?
Yes.
Councilmember Fairst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers?
Yes.
Councilmember Woods?
Yes.
Councilmember Blixley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis?
Yes.
Mayor Herbst?
Yes, and the motion carries 7-0.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add Resolution 23R35,
That's it.
if I may.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Lewis and a second by Councilman Follick to amend the agenda to add Resolution 23-R-35. Call the roll?
Councilmember Fairst?
Yes.
Councilmember Ayers?
Yes.
Councilmember Woods?
Yes.
Councilmember Blixley?
Yes.
Councilmember Follick?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, the motion carries 7-0. Next, we have Resolution 23-R-35. Mr. McDonald, by title only.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to negotiate and enter into a purchase and sale agreement for purchase and sale agreements for certain land within the city center overlay.
Thank you. Mr. Wendt?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. This would authorize city manager to negotiate and enter into a purchase and sale agreement and to execute that agreement for purchase of land at the southeast corner of Dixie and National Road. Those addresses are 2 East National Road, 26 East National Road, 34 East National Road, and 42 East National Road. The city has done due diligence regarding environmental work and appraisals, and so we just like to work with those property owners in accordance with the goals that are set forth in the 2020 Vision Vandalia Comprehensive Plan.
All right, can I have a motion?
Your Honor, move we approve resolution number 23R35 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Lewis and a second by Councilman Follick to approve Resolution 23-R-35 as presented. Are there any comments or questions? Call the roll.
Councilmember Ayers.
Yes.
Councilmember Woods.
Yes.
Councilmember Blakesley.
Yes.
Councilmember Follick.
Yes.
Councilmember First.
Yes.
Pardon me, Vice Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Mayor Herbst.
Yes, the motion carries 7-0. Meeting is adjourned.